reviewing every episode of Avatar Season 1. With the recent news, I just had to speed up this video. The Boy and the Iceberg. The series kicks off with Katara and Sokka discovering Aang, the last airbender, frozen in an iceberg, as well as starting off the show with one of the greatest openings of all time. This episode does a great job of setting up the world, bending, and the looming Fire Nation threat. All of our main characters get damn near perfect introductions that show what everybody is about on a surface level. 8 out of 10. The Avatar returns. Sokka's plan and Aang's selflessness gets him captured by Zuko, leading to an intense rescue mission by Katara and Sokka, with the help of Appa, of course. I really like the ending of this episode, but I find myself watching it less and less as I grow older. 8.5 out of 10. The Southern Air Temple. Alright, here we go. Aang visits his home, only to realize the air nomads were wiped out. Oh, just the way they show all these emotions is masterful, balancing Aang's joy with the heartbreaking moment where you find Monk Gyatso's remains. Meanwhile, Zuko's rivalry with Zhao begins as one of my favorite fights in the series. It also shows who Zuko and Zhao are as people. 9 out of 10. The Warriors of Kyoshi. The group visits Kyoshi Island, where Sokka confronts his sexist views after meeting the skilled Kyoshi warriors. And we meet Suki. We all love Suki. Meanwhile, Aang enjoys his first taste of fame. Zuko, still tracking them, brings the Fire Nation to the island. 7 out of 10. The King of Omashu. Aang and the gang meet King Bumi, who tests Aang's wisdom with a series of strange challenges. It's very okay, but it's important for the future. The twist that Bumi is Aang's childhood friend is a nice touch. 6 out of 10. Imprisoned. Okay, more boring things. Katara helps Earthbenders regain their confidence after being imprisoned by the Fire Nation. This episode highlights the oppression under Fire Nation rule and Katara's passionate leadership. It's fine, I guess. I always skip it, but admittedly the bit where the guards are convinced Momo airbends is really funny. 5 out of 10. The Spirit World, Part 1 and 2. Alright, we're running again. Aang enters the Spirit World for the first time, dealing with Heiba, a rampaging spirit who also learns that Sozin's comet will return, increasing the Fire Nation's power. But the main excitement comes in the second part, Avatar Roku. Aang communicates with Avatar Roku, who warns him of the Fire Lord's plans. I love Roku as a character, and I absolutely adore this introduction. The Fire Nation temple escape scene is intense, and the first glimpse of Fire Lord Ozai, voiced by the fantastic Mark Hamill. 9 out of 10. The Waterbending Scroll. And we're back to boring. Okay, fine. Katara struggles with jealousy as Aang learns waterbending quickly, and the group steals a scroll from pirates. The episode adds some fun swashbuckling action and humor while deepening Katara's character. I think it's boring. Sorry, not sorry. 4 out of 10. Jet. And we're keeping the boring. Okay. A morally interesting episode where the group meets Jet, a charismatic rebel leader who fights against the Fire Nation but uses questionable methods. I mean, it's important because in Book 2 these characters are miles better, but I never cared for this introduction at all. 4 out of 10. The Great Divide. I don't want to talk about this episode. Okay, this show, everybody talks about that's the greatest of all time. If I was the first viewer, I would not be impressed. I'm sorry, what? There's a storm coming? 3 out of 10 filler. Now let's get to the good shit. The Storm, the phenomenal episode, reveals Aang's guilt over running away and Zuko's tragic backstory, including his scar in exile. This is a top 5 Avatar episode for me. It is perfect. Showing the contrast between Zuko and Aang is genius, and the fact that both backstories are totally understandable is even better. This is where Zuko becomes a fully fleshed out character. I can go on and on, but we'd be here forever. 10 out of 10. The Blue Spirit. All right, we are cooking now. Aang gets captured by Admiral Zhao, but an unexpectedly masked figure, also known as Zuko, rescues him. I mean, this design is just, it's beautiful. This episode has amazing action and a fantastic reveal that Zuko is willing to change his own side to capture Aang himself. 9.5 out of 10. The Fortune Teller. A lighthearted episode where the group meets a fortune teller who claims the village is safe from destruction. Sokka is frustrated by superstition, while Katara gets obsessed with her romantic future. This is fun. Let me have this. 7 out of 10. Bato of the Water Tribe. I cannot stand this episode. Sokka and Katara reunite with an old family friend, forcing them to choose between Aang and their past. Meanwhile, Zuko hires June, a bounty hunter. Okay, listen, the Sokka scene is perfect. That is legit the only shining moment of this episode. I don't like Aang in this episode, even though I understand him. I think June and the fight scenes are fine, but nothing great. I think I can count on one hand how many times I've watched this episode. I always skip it. 3 out of 10. The Deserter. Okay, we're back. Aang meets the Fire Nation defector who teaches him firebending, but he loses control and burns Katara. Great moment, by the way. And Zhong's speech about bending and to Katara is great. There's a major moment for Aang, making him afraid to use firebending in the future. 8 out of 10. The Northern Air Temple. Come on, man, give me something better. A group group of Earth Kingdom refugees have turned an old air temple into a home. Aang initially resents them, me too, but later sees their struggle. Also, war machines are introduced. I never watched this episode either. I find anything other than the Sokka stuff boring, and I don't like Aang being an asshole. 4 out of 10. The Waterbending Master. Finale time! Arriving at the War of the Northern Water Tribe, Aang and Katara meet Master Pakku, who refuses to train Katara because she's a girl. The episode highlights sexism and bending culture, and Katara's fight with Pakku is fantastic. Not much to say, just solid. 8.5 out of 10. And now we have the finale, The Siege of the North, Part 1 and 2. An epic 2-part finale where the Fire Nation led by Zhao attacks the Northern Water Tribe. Zuko's desperate journey to capture Aang in a blizzard adds depth to his character, also teasing Azula. Zhao kills the Moon Spirit, throwing the world into chaos, but Yue sacrifices herself to restore balance. Masterful scene, by the way. Aang enters the Avatar state, merging with the Ocean Spirit, and absolutely demolishes the Fire Nation forces. Absolutely tears into them. Low-key murdered at least a few hundred people, but that's neither here nor there. And that final task from Ozai, and now the masterpiece starts. 10 out of 10.